Okay, dear friends, we will continue our lectures of research methodology. Last time we have seen the methods of scaling. Now we will continue the same. Now, the scaling we have seen, we must have a definite scale to calculate our work, to keep record of our work. That should be systematic, either of the population or of the insects or animals or whatever the work you are carrying it out as a research project or research work. So one example of scaling is here. If someone wishes to measure time taken in responding to a stimulus, one may use a stopwatch. But if they require measuring attitude or views about a political situation, then the stopwatch is one of no use. In statistics, there are few scales of measurement which are used in order to measure the statistical variables, and each of these measurement scales does measure a certain type of variable. The measurement scales share some fundamental properties by which they can be classified, even though measurement procedures may differ in many ways. And in this section, the definition of scales of measurement and their different categories are discussed. Now, let us go ahead and learn what the definition, then what the work, what the way of measuring the scaling, etc. First of all, we see the definition. In statistics, while performing quantitative researches, the researcher has to attempt to classify the variables or data. Thus, he needs to develop some taxonomy for the measurement level, which are known as scales of measurement, and these are number of ways uh, available for measuring variables in statistics, and these dependent variables are to be classified on the basis of scales of measurement, and the measurement is foundation for any type of scientific or statistical investigation. In a research or survey, everything we perform does begin with its measurement. So, it is necessary to understand the differences between the type of variables and the scales according to which these would be measured. And it is important to be able to identify a scale which would be appropriate in order to analyze the data. And therefore, we can say that the scales of measurement may be defined as the ways by which variables or numbers are classified into categories. And each scale of measurement possesses certain properties. These properties determine the appropriate use of certain statistical scale of measurement. So this is the actual basic definition of the scaling. Everywhere, wherever we do any kind of work, the scale keeps very prime importance. Now, importance of scaling. Measure is important in research because we can have up-to-date data or appropriate data of the thing what where we are going to perform. Measure aims to ascertain the dimensions, quantity or capacity of the behavior or events that researchers want to explore. And according to Maxim 1999, measurement is a process of mapping empirical phenomena with using system of numbers. Basically, the events or phenomena that researchers interested can be existed as a domain, and measurement links the events in domain to events in another space, which is called range. In other words, researchers can measure certain events in certain range, and the range is consisting of scale. Thus, researchers can interpret the data with quantitative conclusion, which leads to more accurate and standardized outcomes. So, without measures, researchers can't interpret the data accurately and systematically. Therefore, scaling is important in research. So, after scaling, you must record the data in a table form, that is tabulation of data. So, tabulation of data also have different varieties. First, A, variables. So what are the variables? We will see the definition, types and examples of variables. So in statistics, a variable has two defining characteristics. One, a variable is an attribute that describe a person, place, thing or idea. And second, the value of variable can vary from one entity to another entity. Means 1%, 2%, or one place, two places, three places, likewise. So definition: a variable is a quantity that may assume any one of a set of different possible values. It is the quantitative or qualitative feature of interest, that is a property of the object or process we are trying to measure or study. For example, a person's hair color is a potential variable which could have the value of blonde or one person and brunette for another person. So this is about the variables. Now types. Types of variables includes qualitative versus quantitative variables. So variables can be classified as qualitative, categorical or quantitative, numeric. So we can record two kinds of variables. So qualitative variables taken on values that are names or labels, and the color of a ball, example red, green, blue, this is about the qualitative. Or the breed of a dog, example collie, shepherd and terrier, would be examples of qualitative or categorical variables. Now quantitative. The quantitative variables are numeric and they represent a measurable quantity. For example, when we speak of the population of a city, we are talking about the number of people in the city, a measurable attribute of the city. Therefore, population would be quantitative variable. In algebraic equations, quantitative variables are represented by symbols, example x, y or z. Second, discrete versus continuous variables. So quantitative variables can be further classified as discrete or continuous. If a variable can take on any value between its minimum value and its maximum value, it is called a continuous variable. Otherwise, it is called a discrete variable. And some examples will clarify the difference between discrete and continuous variables. Suppose the fire department mandates that all firefighters must weigh between 150 and 250 pounds. The weight of a firefighter would be an example of continuous variable, since the firefighter's weight could take on any value between 150 and 250 pounds. Suppose we flip a coin and count the number of heads. The number of heads could be any integer or value between 0 and plus infinity. However, it could not be any number between 0 and plus infinity. We could not, for example, get 2.3 heads. Therefore, the number of heads must be discrete variable. The number of heads must be discrete variable. So either it will be 2 or 3, never 2.3. So this is the discrete variable. Univariate versus bivariate. Statistical data are often classified according to the number of variables and being studied. Then univariate data, when we conduct a study that looks at only one variable, we say that we are working with univariate data. And suppose, for example, that we conducted a survey to estimate the average weight of a high school student. Since we are only working with one variable, weight, वजन, we would be working with variable univariate data. So this is about the univariate data. एकच डाटा कुठला तरी कलेक्ट करतात. And bivariate data म्हणजे दोन गोष्टी कंप्लीट. When we conduct a study that examines the relationship between two variables, we are working with bivariate data. Suppose we conducted a study to see if there there were a relationship between the height and weight of high school students. Since we are working with two variables, height and weight, so we could be working with bivariate data. युनिव्हॅरिएट डाटा म्हणजे फक्त विद्यार्थ्यांचे वजन करणे आणि दुसरं वजन आणि उंची दोघं मोजणे. तर युनिव्हॅरिएट डाटा आणि बायव्हॅरिएट डाटा. आता सेकंड फ्रिक्वेन्सी डिस्ट्रीब्युशन, त्याच्या पण आपण डेफिनेशन टाईप आणि एक्झाम्पल्स बघूया. A statistical data may consist of a list of numbers related to a research. Among those numbers, few may be repeated twice and even more than twice. The repetition of number of data is a data set is termed as frequency. म्हणजे एकदा जर का आपण एक डाटा एका वेळेला एका विषयाचा कलेक्ट केला तर त्याला फ्रिक्वेन्सी म्हणायचं ऑफ दॅट पर्टिक्युलर नंबर or the variable in which that number is assigned. The frequencies of variables in a data are to be listed in a table आणि त्याला एका विशिष्ट टेबलमध्ये नोंदवायचे. This table is known as frequency distribution table and the list is referred as frequency distribution or frequency distribution list, we can say simply. The page includes the study of frequency distribution with various examples. Our study on frequency distribution includes a study on cumulative frequency, mean frequency table. Frequency distribution can be defined as the tabulation of the various values with one or more variables. A frequency distribution is defined as an orderly arrangement of data classified according to the magnitude of the observations. And there are many types of various frequency distributions: grouped frequency distribution, ungrouped frequency distribution, cumulative frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, and relative cumulative frequency distribution. So these are the types of frequency distribution simply classified. A frequency distribution is an orderly arrangement of data classified according to the magnitude of the observations. किती वेळा आपण डाटा ऑब्जर्व केला आहे त्याची नोंद ठेवणे. When the data are grouped into classes of appropriate size indicating the number of observations in each class, we get a frequency distribution. By forming frequency distribution, we can summarize the data effectively, and it is a method of presenting the data in a summarized form. So frequency distribution is also known as frequency table. So classes. A large number of observations varying in a wide range are usually classified in several groups according to the size of their values, and each of these groups is defined by an interval called class interval, and the class interval between 10 and 20 is defined as 10-20. So this may be the another way or method by which we can calculate the distribution, or we can keep the record on observations of the frequencies. So we have seen weight, height, group, and class distribution, and it's a frequency distribution groups or types, either in a group or in ungroup or cumulative or relative cumulative frequency. In next we will see how the class limit is calculated, and magnitude or frequency or likewise calculations of statistical data is made variable. All variables we can calculate it by statistical way. That we will see in the next lecture. We will summarize here today's speech.